really. And see, now I'm about to be a hypocrite because I've always defended the Kardashian for years, and not even
Never
defend.
understood why.
No, but I never even defended them like crazy. But I would just simply be like, if you guys hate them so much, why do you guys keep talking about them? Like that. It wasn't even me defending them. It was more me calling out stupidity. I'm like, every time the Kardashians do something, you guys flinch, and it's funny because they know the reaction is gonna be. They know it. Even with this recent incident, they know what the reaction is gonna be, and people fall for it every time. And it's like hilarious. Like that after that interview came out, I showed you my timeline. I was like, dang, I'm like, you guys hate these people so much. Why do you keep giving them the attention? So it wasn't, I never really defended them. I just more so was calling people out. Like, if you guys hate them so much, why do you keep talking about them? Like, it's giving obsessions, giving weird.
I think
And people admitted that. Some fans, not fans, but some people were like, yeah, well, we kind of do have to stop giving them the energy they want. It's like, yeah, exactly. You guys sound like crazy.
I do agree. I think with certain things that they do, it has to be addressed only because of the influence that they have.
Yeah, like when they was wearing the braids and it was like, oh, stop, like, it's just braids, stop calling them. I was like, no, you kind of have to call them out because it's like, get those braids out of your head. You're white.
Or even the most recent comments, and let's hit that transition.
Yeah, we could start there.
Air horn, boom, 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 boom.
Let me open my phone up here. I wrote notes.
Here we go. I'm gonna let you cook. Let me get some water.
We could start there. Let's see. So yeah, that's actually the first thing I wrote down. Kim Kardashian, Variety magazine. Is it a magazine?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So it's funny because I was just talking about how I don't defend the Kardashians, and this is not even me defending them.
I got my easy.
Like I said, trust me, now more than ever, it's smoke. When I see Kim, it's smoke. If I ever see Kim, it's smoke. I would literally probably give her a look of disgust if I seen her in person, just because I'm a Kanye fan. And I'd be
She
like,
would look at you like brokey.
yeah, she would. And I'd be like, yeah, I am broke. Yeah, I am. I mean, I'm broke to your standards, but at least I'm out here living, and I got a real body, and don't look like a freaking ant.
We're not doing that on this podcast.
Oh, we're not surgery shaming?
We're not.
I'm surgery shaming.
We're not talking negatively about anybody.
I'm surgery shaming. Because this could actually be a topic. I saw a YouTube video about it, how there was like a whole conversation about people accusing Ruby of getting her body done. Like that blew up and her tweet ended up in the shade room.
We could talk about this after.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about that.
If we have time, because it's getting late.
Oh yeah, it's getting late. Let me write that down then just in case we decide to talk about it.
I won't forget it. Just get into it.
So yeah, like I said, it's smoke for Kim, especially with the kind of situation. So this is not even me defending her. I'm not defending Kim. I'm gonna put that out there. But everybody knows the world was in shambles for the last 2 days, or 3 days at this point, because Kim said, "Get your A word." We try to be like mindful about cursing, even though sometimes I do. But gotta watch it. Get up, get to work. Like, people don't actually want to work these days. People are lazy, right? Outrage. Like, you kind of haven't really been, you're not really on social media like that, but I showed you my timeline. Outrage. Tweet after tweet after tweet. Somebody like said their story about how they worked for Kim and all this other stuff. Tweet after tweet after tweet, right? People telling their stories, people saying she's tone deaf, people saying all this stuff, right?
Hold up. Let me jump in.
Yeah.
Disparaging your past employers is not always a good look.
It's not. Because now people are not going to want to hire you.
In the future.
Yeah.
That's it.
They're like, well, if something happens, she's going to blast us online.
Keep going. That doesn't mean don't highlight negative things if they do something crazy, but just keep that in mind, people. Go ahead.
See, there was all this anger. And I was like, okay. These quotes were coming out. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is kind of wild, tone deaf. People do have good points, right? So let me start with saying, I went back. I'm like, all right, let me go actually see the interview. Because that's the one thing people don't do, right? So information spreads around the internet and no one actually goes back to watch the interview. No one ever goes back to read the article. They just they react off of quotes, And that's one thing that people are so flawed in this world. It's like people will retweet stuff, people would spread misinformation, and nobody does research, nobody fact checks anything. So I feel like the majority of people did not go back and actually watch the interview. They just took what she was saying and spreading like wildfire. Everybody's having their think pieces about Kim would never survive a double shift at Waffle House. I work hard every day, right? So I was like, let me go back and actually see what she said. And this is where I got confused. Kim literally started her sentence with, if I had to give my advice to women in business.
Hold it right there.
Women in business.
Hold it right there. I didn't watch it. I'm never watching Kardashian content.
Well, I showed you the clip.
But who asked her?
The interview related. I didn't see that part. I just went to the beginning of when she started her sentence. I wanted to see the full clip. I think the interviewer asked her
Now, do you think
about what your advice would be, and she's like, if I had to give advice to women in business, keep in mind those 3 words: women in business.
Hold up. Do you typically, and I don't think people believe this, but typically people provide their questions to interviewers. Like their publicist provides it to them.
Yeah.
So people typically don't go into an interview not knowing what's coming.
Yeah.
Do you think that they came in there, gave the interviewer that question to ask on purpose?
Well, I think that interview was all about that like you saw, it wasn't Kardashian and Jenner. It's like Kylie and Kendall weren't there. It was specifically the Kardashian empire. Like Rob wasn't even there because he's not. I wouldn't consider him like, he wasn't that mogul. It was about Kourtney, Khloe, and Kim and Chris.
So they wrote those questions.
How they are like created this empire. So I think the whole interview was just based off them being businesswomen in this empire. So I think that was just the basis of the interview. So they probably knew that those questions were going to be asked. Maybe they might not know what the questions were, but they knew they was going to be all about business. So yeah, I keep emphasizing women in business because I'm sitting here thinking now, did Kim say, here's my advice to the working class of America? Did Kim say, here's my advice to Waffle House workers, to McDonald's chefs, to cashiers at ShopRite? Or I'll say maybe Whole Foods, since ShopRite's a local business. People might not know what ShopRite is on the West Coast. Did Kim say, here's my advice to students in law school? Here's my advice to single moms who work, that was my example, at Petco. Did she even say, this is my advice to like people like us, like people who work in corporate, people in tech? No, she said, here's my advice to women in business. So first of all, if you're not even a woman, exit stage left. Like there's men on the internet like, Kim is tone deaf. Why would she say that? I worked 3 shifts at Waffle House last night. Like, sir, leave. She wasn't even talking to you. You're a man. She said women in business. And not saying that men can't give their opinion. You can. You can still call someone out. But it's like, why are you offended by something when she literally said woman? Then she said woman in business. Right. When I think of that, woman in business, she's not talking about me. I consider myself a woman in business. I work in business. I work at a corporation. I work in corporate. Like I'm a businesswoman. You're a businessman. Like, by like that typical definition of wear a suit and tie, go to work, sit in the cube, whatever. I mean, now we have open work plans, whatever, open floor plan. When I think women in business, I think she's specifically talking about her, businesswoman, right? Businesswoman, women that create businesses, women that want to be business moguls.
She should have said business owners.
She should have, but just her saying the word in business should have ruled out all the Waffle House, McDonald's, Petco workers. Like she wasn't talking about you. Go back to doing your job. She wasn't like, stop trying to be offended by everything.
Not that I don't disagree, but technically we're all in business if we work for a business.
But come on, don't be. People want to be so obtuse. She wasn't talking about you. Like people want to sound so special. Girls, this is a woman in business, not woman at Petco. Not woman.
She should have said business owners.
At Taco Bell.
She should have said business owners.
Yeah, she should have.
Or entrepreneurs. Or more specific.
Entrepreneurs. She should have. Yeah. So that's why I was like, where is the anger coming from? Because like I understood what she was saying. Like I still, like I said, I'm not defending her. I still feel like wrong messenger. Like you could still kind of give your advice, and that's why I'll get into that in a second. But that's why I just want to start with. She said women in business. So it was like everybody else just wants to be mad. And like I get it, people don't like the Kardashians, so they wait for him to make a false move. And honestly, after everything that I'm Team Kanye, after what she's doing to him, let her get the smoke. I don't even care that she got all that smoke. Let her be the bad guy for a while. Cause Kanye was getting all the smoke lately, right? And people were like, I don't even like Kim, but I'm on her side, Team Kim, blah blah blah. So let somebody heat off Kanye for a little bit. That's what I'm saying. I don't even care, but I'm just still kind of laughing about the people who are offended by something that wasn't even directed towards them. Like I said, I interpreted that she was talking to a businesswoman and she was saying like, don't be lazy, because there are lazy business people out there, right? Like they think, okay, I'm gonna like start my business. I'm gonna go on AliExpress, order lashes that cost 15 cents, repackage them, and resell them. And that's the extent of their business that they will do, right? And then they're like, that's it. It's like, all right, well, what's next? Like, there are a lot of like lazy people. Like, if that's really your passion, then get up and work. Like she said, there are a lot of lazy people in the world. People don't want to work. I just watched Troy's video. He made a YouTube video today of like these kids. Like in this video I saw on Twitter, these kids that robbed this lady. I don't know if you saw that. They pretend they were selling candy. Broke into their house. People don't want to work. They want to. People steal PPP loans. They want to get loans and just get money. They scam. People don't want to work. That is a fact. They don't. But she wasn't talking to you. She was talking to a woman of business. So the outrage is very weird. But to go, play devil's advocate, or not even playing devil's advocate, not technically playing devil's advocate, but to see things from other people's perspective, I do agree that she might have been the wrong messenger for the message. I think if she was giving advice, like specifically to women in business who come from privileged backgrounds, I mean, that's such a specific thing, right? But that kind of would be more of like, okay, like if she was giving advice to people who come from like money, right? Like how to come from money and turn that into wealth, right? Because a lot of people do come from money and don't become successful automatically. Like people keep throwing that out there, like, oh, you came from, which is true. Your success rate is probably, your success chances are probably more successful coming from money, because at least you kind of like, but even we had this conversation that sometimes the drive actually might be more in somebody who comes from no money. Could they have more to drive to get out of a situation? But you could agree that it's easier to get to reach success if you come from a privileged standpoint, right? Like you have a warm house to go to. You have parents that you can go to that'll give you money. Like, you're good. Even when she was broke, I guess you could say, like cleaning closets for Paris Hilton, you were still cleaning a closet for Paris Hilton, right? You wasn't cleaning a closet for a random lady in your neighborhood, So it's like, I feel like if she would give her advice to maybe people like, oh, kids who come from privileged backgrounds, kids who come from money, how you could flip that into wealth, then it'll be received better, I feel like, right? Like that should be your message. That should be you should be the messenger for that group. That's a group. Because take her brother, for example, Rob, he comes from the same background, right? Same exact position as she did. He tried to sell, he was the lazy person that she's probably talking about. He tried to just sell socks, right? Flopped. And what has he done since then? Nothing. He's just sitting around somewhere.
Question for you.
So he's not a billionaire. So just because you came from money doesn't mean it's an automatic meal ticket to being a billionaire. You still have to work for it. Despite anything that people think it was handed to her, like the sex tape, whatever, you still had to work. So,
how much work do we think that they actually do? And I'm asking this based on this.
That's a good question.
Dr. Dre Dr. Dre Beats, the company, sold to Apple for $1 billion.
Yeah.
Dr. Dre had absolutely zero to do with the production or manufacturing of any of those headphones because
isn't the same thing with Michael Jordan?
Yeah, he didn't even design the shit.
Tinker Hatfield he would give the flowers to?
Yeah, he had nothing to do with the design of the Jordan 1. Yeah. Dr. Dre had nothing to do with the design of Dr. Dre Beats. If anything,
the name's just on it.
Jimmy Iovine, who was the one that came to Dr. Dre with the idea, should get the credit. And then from there, Monster, the company that makes audio equipment, is the ones that actually made the headphones. Yeah,
and there's people who are actually designing, doing the hardware.
Which is okay. You can outsource your work. I'm not saying build headphones from scratch in the laboratory if you make beats.
Because you still have to come up with the concept, the idea.
Dr. Dre's whole involvement, literally, Jimmy Iovine, here's a story. He came to him on a beach, said, yo, I want to get into, aside from music, I want to get into like tech and like other aspects of music. Said, yo, I want to make headphones. Can we take your name, slap it on the headphones? Dre said, okay. And that was it.
Crazy. And then, but today, if you say who made beats? Oh, Dr. Dre.
So my question is, did the Kardashians, with their makeup and all this other shit, were they working hard, or did they allow another company to make their products and slap their name on it?
Good question.
Because that's not difficult to do.
I mean, it's not, but there still is a level of difficulty to actually get success. Because how many people do you know slapped their name on something and flopped?
How many people have a name to slap something on?
A lot of people. I always use this example. Beyonce had a house of Darian jeans. That's Beyonce. Flop.
How to
Nobody was
what?
House of Darion. It was named after her grandma or something. You know, they all have those French names from
Never heard of it.
Louisiana. Yeah, you never heard. Yeah, exactly. You never heard Chicky Derriere and them Darions. Yeah, Darion jeans. You never heard that song? Where the ones like scissor leg, touch your heels, touch your toe. The whole when she lean, arch it back, girl, swoop your hair, arch it back. You heard that song?
I don't listen to Beyonce.
Exactly, but that's my point. It's Beyonce. You don't never even heard it. Heard of jeans.
Beyonce's also black.
Nicki Moscato. I don't.
Nicki's also black.
Okay, true. But let's think of white people. I mean, I use the example of her brother. Rob came out with some socks. Somebody brought them socks. Somebody brought those socks. And he has a Kardashian name, and it still didn't go nowhere. So, I mean, I'll play you the song after.
Don't play me the song. I don't ever want to hear those lyrics again.
No, you heard "Get Me Body" before.
Yeah, I was never listening to the lyrics. That beat is super hard. Swiss went crazy on that beat. YouTube, we are talking over this.
Oh,
so
see right
we
here.
do not.
Wait. It says "Carry On." She's saying "In them Darions." She said "Shake your derriere in them Darions." She's not saying "carry on." I don't know who like I hate when white people just start messing with stuff. What white person from Apple wrote that? She does not say no "carry on." She said "Shake your derriere."
Also, stop being so much racial tones. Some black person could have wrote that too.
I have trauma.
Damn.
No, a black person not write that. They know Darion.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm not racist, but I just
you gotta tone that down.
have trauma.
No, you don't.
Yeah, we have ancestral trauma.
All right,
from our
whatever. Keep getting with your topic.
I grew up in a racist town. My school was on the news for doing KKK hats. Look it up, guys. Phillipsburg High School, 2014. I was a senior. Racist little hillbillies. Anyway, but yeah. Oh, I'm gonna answer your question. Yeah, I do think they definitely don't really put in the real work that goes behind, because it's not like Kim's in there in the factory stitching the skim pants. She's not. It's not like Kylie was in there mixing lip products and making the lipsticks. She's not. But I definitely do feel like there's a lot of hours that do go into like it depends on your level of involvement, right? And they say that they like to, and this is what they say, but they like to be involved in the process, and we don't know. That could be lies. Like they could have showed that they are involved for the YouTube videos, but I mean involved like as far as like coming up with the design, right? Like you're sitting there saying, all right, I'm not good. I don't know how to draw, but this is my idea, right? And you're trying to relay that to somebody and they're drawing it. Yeah, you're not actually drawing it, but you're still at least involved. Because you could hire somebody to come up with designs for you, you know? But if you're actually in the process of like, oh, I want it to look like this, yeah, like that. And like actually in there, like feeling the fabrics, okay, yeah, this is good. Like if you're actually in there instead of sending somebody out to do that, yeah, I agree. You could have somebody that goes to scout for fabrics. We don't know if Kim actually went out to find the Skims vendor. We don't know that. But she could have very well went out there, went to the different places. Like we saw in the Kanye documentary that he was actually out there in Japan. So you could give Kanye his respect, right? Because he was actually out there. Like, yeah, there's other people involved, but he flew out there to look at the prototypes and all that stuff. Kim, I'm sure she does that too, because you have to kind of look at your product before it's going out or into production. But I don't know. They like I don't like, that's the thing too. Like I don't want to be a hypocrite. I always talk about how we don't know these people when people are talking. I don't know them. I don't know what they do in the day to day. Like they really could be out there like helping out. Of course, I don't think, like I said, they're not in there sewing. They're not in there mixing the lipstick. They're not in there actually designing, like creating the actual packaging, like, actually in there doing all that and like doing the artistry. But yeah, and I do think like another aspect of being a business person is selling your business. Like I feel like they're good at selling their business. Like, and we don't know that too. Like they could be PR team that have log into their Instagram and they're actually making those posts, right? Like those Instagram posts, because they probably have. I know they all have brand pages, and there's probably people, they have social media managers behind those pages, I'm sure, that are actually running those pages. Even on their own personal account, they might have people who log in and actually make those posts. But sometimes they make their own posts because they do the little swatches, the lipstick swatches on their arm. And they, as a person, actually has to go out like to do a lot of things, like PR, you got to go to events, you got to go to red carpets, you got to do all that stuff. And like the average person, like, a lot of people don't want to do those things. Like people are, lazy. Like that, I keep saying about that group sorority. Like they're in a lot of drama now because their family like completely split. And I was watching their podcast and they were talking about how like the two sisters just didn't want to do the work. They would cry when it was time to get up to go to like dance practice, right? Like they didn't want to sing at practices because they were embarrassed. Like they didn't want to dance. They were just lazy. And they had a Rock Nation deal that flopped because of laziness. So people are really lazy. A lot of people are lazy and they just want easy money. They don't know what they want to do with their lives. They don't really work, you know? But like I said, I'm not defending the Kardashians. I'm still going to say like she was the wrong messenger for it. She was, because there are a lot of women out there that are really trying. And they just don't have the resources that she did. So that's partially why they're feeling like, unless you really made it from the bottom, I don't want to hear your advice on even a woman in business. Me as if I was that's what I'm saying. Like the people who have the right to be outraged are the women in business that are working hard to actually try to make it. If they were the ones outraged, rightfully so, because she was talking to you. She wasn't talking to you who work at McDonald's, Petco. No, she was talking to women business, and they should be. And we could be outraged for them, but people weren't outraged for them. They were outraged for themselves because she thought they were talking about themselves. Because they were like, "I work hard. I did the overnight. I did the graveyard shift." It's like, no, she wasn't talking to you. Like, if you want to be outraged for the women in business, yeah, be outraged for them. Because that's why I'm kind of like annoyed because I'm annoyed for them. Because, but two things can be true. Like I said, there's definitely lazy people out there who just try to do their little lipstick brand that doesn't do nothing. Try to resell glasses from Amazon. Definitely there's the people out there that are lazy and that don't actually put the work in. But like I said, Kim was just the wrong messenger for the message. They don't want to hear from somebody who came from a privileged position. Like I said, go talk to a seminar of a whole bunch of women that were born into money and give them advice on how they could leverage their privilege, you know? Because some people they're born into that money don't know what to do with it, right? So give them advice. Because they might really want to know how'd you do it from your position of being raised upper middle class. They might want to hear it. And they might even be upper middle class. They might be considered rich. But I think upper middle class.
When he died, he had a net worth of
like 30 million
yeah,
something.
So.
Yeah, so they were rich. So yeah, like there was like I said, there's people that have born into money and probably don't know what to do with it. They sit on it. They don't do nothing. They don't flip it. They don't turn into nothing. So we got to give her flowers for turning millions into billions. You know, you had to give people their flowers, but you also had to recognize that you had a boost that a lot of people don't have. So you can't tell people that you can't tell women business owners that you can't tell them, but you can't. You know, so that's how I feel. My final conclusion is wrong messenger for the message. She should tell that to people who born into money and want to know how to turn their millions into billions. Have a class for them. Most entrepreneurs probably entrepreneurs who are starting from the bottom want to hear from other entrepreneurs that started from the bottom. They don't want to hear from somebody who was born with $30 million, their dad with $30 million net worth. No. Most people in the world are born with parents with negative net worths. So.
To conclude, we also need people to, and obviously everybody's situation is different, so I don't want to sound insensitive by any means, but there needs to be more of an emphasis on the way that you work intellectually. In other words, working smarter and not harder, because there's always the emphasis of I work so hard, I work hard, and people aren't rich. But the thing is,
are you working smart?
The hardest worker in the room is the person that's working for the person that's working the smartest.
Yeah.
So you can work 3 shifts and you may need that for survival purposes. And I, again, don't want to be insensitive to anybody that's going through that because I don't know what that's like. Don't want to know what that's like.
Yeah.
Prayers to anybody that feels like they have to do that to survive. But I will say that the time that you're taking to work 3 shifts, there are things and jobs that will pay you the same amount of money for all three shifts for even a quarter of the time. So just trying to get into opportunities where your time is considered to be more valuable, which is corporate is usually they value your time more, so you get paid more to basically work less than somebody that's working hourly wage jobs. Obviously easier said than done. Not everybody has degrees and can't do that, but I think that people should not brag so much about how hard they work.
Yeah. And like the thing is too, like people, you know, a lot of people don't look into the things that they could make money. Like I see ads every day about, oh, you get your certification. It could take 3 months. It could take 6 months online. You don't gotta even leave your house. And I know
for $200.
And I know some people don't got, you know, they might not have a Wi-Fi, good Wi-Fi computer, but it's possible. There's so many people that make it out from way worse situations than a lot of people who complain. Way worse.
Especially with these remote jobs as well. They're paying. They're paying. Before remote jobs, they didn't necessarily pay as a lot because
they're paying.
Now they're paying because they have to.
I told you the job my mom just got. Crazy, right? Did I tell you how much? But 100% remote. The job's out of Cali. She at home in Jersey, chilling, making mad money and not commuting. No gas money. You know, I haven't paid gas in my car in over a month. Like, the work from home life is lit. Like, everybody complain about gas prices, and I'm like, I feel my. It's crazy. You know, I never fill my tank, right? You know, I never do it, but I filled it to go to the Poconos. I'm still running off that, and that gas was like $3 when I put that gas in. So, remote life is lit. So yeah, that whole working hard thing is actually really not a flex. Like even with me, like with the CPA exam prep, like, you know, me trying to get studying again, I'm like, I gotta study smarter. Harder is not gonna do anything. It's gonna give me burnout. It's gonna make me stressed. I gotta be smart. I gotta like, all right, what time am I studying? How many chapters am I getting through today? That's it. It can't be, oh, I did 30 chapters today. Like, no, be smart. Get your sleep, divvy it up, and make it, you know, concise every day. Same amount of time. Don't kill yourself. Get it done. Be smart.